Good afternoon, everyone. Well, hello. It is another Friday. Wow, right? So it is Friday, January the 29th. We have made it through the month. Can you believe it? 4 weeks. We've already made it through our first 4 weeks of January. What a blessing. Happy Friday to everyone. Twyla Jenkins here, founder and CEO of the I Am That Woman movement and retreat. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm super excited about what we're talking about today. If you have joined me any broadcast this month, I have been talking about the importance of morning mindfulness. How you start your day is so important. It literally sets the tone of your day. So I have been trying to make sure that you know that it's important. And one, and two, how do you do that? How do you start your day with the intention of it being the best day of your life? Because every single day, God gives us new mercies. As I heard my sister say this morning on her spiritual Facebook Live, her prayer morning call, she was talking about every single day, God gives us new mercies. I was on our prayer call while she was praying. So, yes, we have new mercies every day. And with those new mercies, we really want to make sure that we're taking advantage of God's grace and mercy by fulfilling our best life. And how do we do that? It's by our thoughts. The word tells us that every single day we need to renew our minds. And that's our motto: renew, restore, and revive. And this year, with all that we're going to follow and do, we're going to transform. So I'm super excited today that we're going to end this month out talking about meditation. I introduced guided meditations into our practice and our offerings every morning, Monday through Friday. You can join me at 5:30. At the end of the show, I'll have more information. It's a conference call. Just wake up out of your slumber and sleep. I know it's early. It's 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. But we even have a young lady from California who gets up, and she has 3 kids. So if she can get up, you can get up, and you can start your day with morning mindfulness, with meditation, with prayer, and then come on and work out with me and Valerie Tyler and our whole virtual gang that works out at least 4 times a week, because it's just so important. And that is what we are sharing today on the I Am That Woman movement and retreat. We have none other than one of our 2019 speakers joining us all the way from Detroit, Michigan, Kimberli Boyd. And so I'm going to be talking to Kimberly about meditation, the practice, how you do a guided meditation, the importance of meditation, what it does to your mind and spirit, and how it can improve your life. Kimberly herself was just sharing with me before the show about her health journey. And, sometimes things will put us on our back when we really do need to renew, restore, and revive. And Kimberly has asthma. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and her story. And she's going to share how her meditative and yoga practice has helped her, even with her health challenges, has helped her to heal faster, quicker, and even better. Well, I'm going to bring a tradition back. Today, I have a video. I have a little video about the importance of meditation. It's only about 2 minutes, less than 3 minutes. And I think you're going to enjoy this information about what exactly does meditation do. I've heard about it. I don't do it, or I try and practice it and I can't quiet my mind. So this video gives you a little bit more information about the power of meditation, what it does, how it can help your health. All right, so let me share that now. And I really do hope that you enjoy it. And whoops, I will be right back right after the video shows.
For thousands of years, people have practiced meditation for spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. But from a scientific perspective, how exactly does meditating affect your body? Does it really do anything? It all starts in the brain. During meditation, brain scans see increased activity in regions directly correlated with decreased anxiety and depression, along with increased pain tolerance. The default mode network, in particular, is activated when one's mind is at rest and not focusing on the outside world, and has been found to improve memory, self-awareness, and goal setting. Want to be more caring to your friends and family? When scientists compared the brains of Buddhist monks to new meditators, they found the region of the brain associated with empathy to be much more pronounced in the monks. It also literally changes your brain waves, and we can measure these frequencies. Meditators have higher levels of alpha waves, which have been shown to reduce feelings of negative mood, tension, sadness, and anger. And if that wasn't enough, it also physically changes our brain shape and size. Studies found that after 8 weeks of a meditation program, gray matter was more dense in areas associated with learning, memory processing, and emotion regulation. And yet the amygdala, which deals with stress, blood pressure, and fear, had decreased gray matter. When we look at the entire body, not only do we see decreased blood pressure, but it can also increase the variability of your heart rate. And while this may sound harmful, it actually plays a critical role in properly transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout your body. Think you're getting sick? In a study where both meditators and non-meditators were given the flu virus, meditators were able to produce a greater number of antibodies and had increased immune function. If we go a little deeper, we can even see changes on a cellular level. Your chromosomes have protective protein complexes called telomeres, which help reduce damage to your DNA and lower cell death. And a shortened telomere length has been linked to several diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Amazingly, when cancer survivors completed a meditation program, their bodies showed significant increases in telomere length. It's believed that psychological intervention, particularly decreasing stress, has a direct effect on the enzyme telomerase, which has been shown to counteract shortening by adding DNA to the shrinking telomeres. Of course, meditation is not a substitute for other medical advice or a healthy lifestyle. We don't want you leaving this video thinking it will cure cancer. But much like hitting the gym can grow your muscles and increase your overall health, it seems that meditation may be a way of working out your brain with extra health benefits. And since your brain controls, well, all of you, why not relax and say, every once in a while. And if you like mine,
Sorry, I had some technical difficulties there. But didn't you really enjoy that video? It talked about what it can do and how it can decrease your anxiety and depression, and your tolerance comes up, and I have seen a difference. But I'm going to stop talking because I'm excited to introduce our guest, Kimberli Boyd, and I am bringing her on now. Hello, beautiful. Uh-oh, Kimberli, you're muted. Unmute your mic. You're
Oh,
muted.
I was just saying in my mirror, if you see beauty in me, it's because it's reflecting right off of you. So
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Kimberli, you are just amazing. When Dr. Portia Lockett told me about you, when I was looking for someone to come to the I Am That Woman retreat in Mexico, God, do I wish we can go back. And I met you at the retreat, and I thoroughly enjoyed what you shared with us, and the meditative practices that you took us through. But before I go down memory lane, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, your title, what you do, your business.
well, I'm Kimberly, daughter of Barbara and Benny, wife to Byron, mother to Zion. Spiritual being, having a physical experience in this realm. So some of the things that I do to show up in the world are to fuse creativity, community, learning, and wellness as an educational consultant. So my background and vocation is in dance and choreography. And so I have a role in helping people learn better by using their physical bodies. And of course, anytime you're using your physical bodies, it naturally leads you to need to breathe. I started to practice yoga for myself as I transitioned out of a more dynamic performance experience in my life and to heal a broken heart, right? So to just take some time out to be reflective. And I heard somebody, it was one of those, now we call it a Groupon, right? You could go and take a whole bunch of yoga classes for free. And it was a challenge, right? It was like a 7-day challenge. And what do we know spiritually about the number 7, 21, or 40? If you can enter into a practice for even as short a time as 7 days consecutively, because then you could get some free experiences after that, then something will shift in your consciousness. And that's what happened to me. Most people come to yoga thinking of the physical experience of it. And that is true. Yoga is a wonderful way to exercise your physical body. But really, the path of yoga is meant to affect not only your body, but also your breath and your mind. And so, fast forward a few years later, I am now not only a registered yoga teacher, but a certified yoga therapist, and have a role sitting in community, especially now, as one who supports mindfulness, well being, and helping us to think about how we can be empowered to take care and be our own best advocate in our wellness experience.
Yes, thank you so much for that beautiful, wonderful, and powerful. I love what you said at first. You know, you are just a human being, but having this, you're a spiritual being having this human experience because you're exactly right. That is who we are. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. So the reason why, Kimberly, and really just through divine knowledge, just a download from God. When I was creating the I Am That Woman movement in retreat and the programming for the retreat. So I'm an event planner. I've been, had my corporate meeting business for 20 years, but I never could have created that programming to develop into what it developed on my own. It certainly was God leading me and guiding me because at the time it wasn't something that I practiced. So it wasn't something that I knew. Of course, I know that, getting up and exercising in the morning was always good, but the prayer and meditation part wasn't a, routine practice for me. I think God had been guiding me to get up at like 6 a.m. and do 6 a.m. prayer. And then me and my sister started doing that and, certainly helped. But after coming back from the retreat and understanding some of the things that you took us through in our workshop, and one of those things that has changed my life is breathing. Now, we know that we have to have breathing to live. But when you really know the effects of how to breathe and properly breathe, and especially when you have anxiety attacks or when you're under a lot of stress and pressure, and how you can control all of that through your breathing. Tell us a little bit about the importance of breathing and what you learned.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that any good breath is a good breath. If you can take it on your own unassisted, then, good job for you. There are many different ways to breathe. So sometimes instead of saying the right way to breathe, the question is, what breath technique is right for the moment? Because certainly there are ways of breathing that can really create heat or energy. And if that's what you need, then those are the breath techniques you do. Right now, we are thinking a lot about ways in which we can de-stress and calm down. And as you mentioned, quell anxiety. And anxiety itself is the fixation or worry about the future, right? Those things that, what if this is going to happen? Even if they're legitimate concerns, the thing is, the future doesn't arrive until it gets here. And so we really can't control that.
Right.
What breathing helps us do is to remain in the present. For the most part, if we are feeling down, low, or depressed, sometimes it's because we have some regrets about what we could have, would have, should have done. We're fixated on a memory of ourselves way back when. Mm-hmm. Breathing is something you can only do in the present. You can't breathe in the past. That breath is gone. Inhale, exhale, let it go. The future will come when it arrives. You can't breathe in the future, right? So the reason that we're able to use breath as sort of that support and metaphor for calming the mind and creating stability is because in an uncertain world, the one thing we can typically control is our relationship to breath.
Yeah.
And it's such a small thing, but sometimes all you need is a small thing. And if you can wrap your mind and heart and consciousness and breath around just that one small thing, then we can create the room and the space to move forward mindfully.
Okay, that's good. So you said breathing techniques. So see, I learn something every time I talk to you. So obviously, if there's different techniques, then like you said, just depending on what you're doing. So rather, if you wanted to de-escalate stress or anxiety, or if you're in a moment of, worry, is there something different that you should do versus if you are depressed and you're just kind of your spirits are low? Is there a different technique that you do for breathing to bring that energy up?
There is. And so an asterisk by everything. So the yoga goes where it needs. If for some reason this does not work for you, that's okay. Tuck it away and come back to it later. Or make an appointment with your local healthcare provider, yoga professional, and we can actually guide you through, what is going to work best for you in the moment. But generally speaking, anxiety, if you think about what happens to the breath when we are anxious, it typically becomes short and
Mhm.
shallow and lives high in the chest. When it does that, what it does is signal the brain. In the video, it mentioned the amygdala, sometimes called the reptilian brain. That's that seat of our emotion, that thing that comes, in and just kicks you in an automatic, and it's just about survival. So when you are in survival mode, you can't be creative. You can't think of a solution. All you can do is manage the moment, and there is a breath pattern that goes along with that. So the racing heart, right?
Right, right,
The shortness of breath, the hyperventilation.
right.
So we can be aware that where our breath is. Sometimes I say, instead of how you're feeling, how are you breathing? And so one simple thing, if you care to do it, anyone who's with us, is to just kind of rub your hands together gently. Call this your own natural personal stethoscope. And place one hand on your heart and your chest, and place the other one on your belly. And just notice what you notice about your breath in this moment. Now, the notice of the observation is to, we invite that to happen without judgment. So don't tell the story about why you think whatever is happening with you is happening. Just notice where your breath is. Because we have to be able to notice the thing in order to change it.
Yes.
From here, gently in through the nose and peacefully out through the lips. And as you do that 2 or 3 more times, I'll tell you why. Our noses are so wonderfully and fearfully made that what they're going to do is filter the air. So whatever impurities are happening in the air, right, they're going to get blocked from going deeper into our body if we breathe through our noses. Breathing through your nose also warms the air. So, anything that is anxious is tight and constricted. Warm air will invite relaxation and calm, right? And that blowing out of the breath will slow the exhale, so that when we're trying to calm down, let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Right? And
Mm.
so we can go about doing that. If you've got the busy mind, we might even count. So if you breathe in for a count of 3, we might exhale for a count of 4. And so when we have these techniques at hand, when you notice that things are getting tight, your mind is racing, your heart is too, you can't think, you feel
Right,
unstable, you can get grounded and say, wait a minute, what do I know to do? So
right.
then my question is, but the time to learn to swim is not when you are drowning, is not a good idea. One of my
Mhm.
favorite that. So this is why we practice. This is the power of practice. And what you do every morning, Twyla, just getting up and creating that ritual and routine, because really we are so wonderfully and fearfully made that once we have established a good thing, even before our mind can figure out something is happening, our
Mhm.
heart will feel it and the body will take over for you when it has practiced.
Yes, that is so true. So I think there's kind of there's many energies that's going on right now, especially with everything that's going on in the world, working from home, working with your kids, working with your spouse. There's so many different emotions that I think we're experiencing throughout the course of the day, and I think the restrictiveness of being at home and not having to go out, is also what causes more pressure and more stress.
Mhm.
So I think there's that perspective, or there's that spectrum. But what about the spectrum of just feeling lost and feeling down and feeling so that is a nice breathing technique to bring us from being up here or racing and having all this tension and bringing us down. What if we are low? What if we do need to kind of come up and have higher spirits and feel better? Is
Right.
that a different technique?
Yes, yes, it is. And so it's almost the opposite. So whereas a longer exhale will bring you to calm, a shorter exhale will begin to lift. right? So we won't get into all the science behind breath and all of that. But sometimes you may notice that when you are feeling a ways, you might even hold your breath, right?
Mhm.
So whether on the inhale or exhale, so in yoga language, we are clinically observing for whether the breath is retentive on the inhale. That's the reaction that tends to happen when you're holding on the inhale, or
Right.
retentive on the exhale. Depressive behavior tends to be,
Yes.
and then you're gasping, right? And so, with that in mind, just finding a place of balance and stability. The first thing I would say is sit up, because a lot of times if you're depressed, I'm exaggerating, but there is a physicality to,
Right. Yes.
right? So, first thing you need to do is sit up tall, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
lengthen our spine. First of all, we're going to make room for our lungs to be able to move. And I do this experiment with kids sometimes. It's like, okay, just crunch over, make a shape of your body that's really rounded. Try to breathe, see what happens. I'm
Mhm.
not able to breathe, but what's the quality of the breath that you're able to take? So when
Right.
you don't feel like it, when life has you doing like this, just sit up, right? Place your feet flat upon the earth. Think of sitting in a place of dignity and strength. Fake it till you make it, baby,
Yeah.
right? Right? So
Yes.
from this place. Just allow yourself to maybe breathe in for 2 counts, pause for 2 counts, then control the exhale for 2 counts, and then pause for 2 counts. So what we've just done is what we call a square breath. So
Mhm.
inhale for 2, pause, suspend the breath for 2, exhale for 2, pause and suspend. And so 2 is sort of short because we are experimenting with an idea, but we'll
Right.
play with the ratio of the numbers. And so we're talking about what would the breath technique perhaps be for someone who is in a depressive state. It might have us pay attention to elongating the hold on the exhalation so that there is a response to wake the body up and get it to inhale.
Mhm.
Time to learn to swim is not when you were drowning, or at least, was a lifeguard by the pool, right? Hang
Right.
back.
That's right. We're definitely going to share your information.
Yeah, with some support, right? So as a yoga therapist, literally what I do, even in virtual platform, is to observe where the breath is. We can see where the breath is and where it isn't. And just, with some guidance and support, find the divine right. It's a part art, part science.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
works best for you?
Right. So we've talked a little bit about breathing and breathing techniques, but because that's such an important part of meditation. And
Mhm.
so at 5:30 a.m. when I'm doing the meditations, it's actually how we start with I call them cleansing breaths with what I learned from you in Mexico of taking the deep inhalations and exhalations and in through like you're smelling a rose and out like you're blowing out the flame of a candle. And then we also do exhalations, just opening our mouths and saying, ah. And then, but the meditation and the actual practice of meditation, I shared the video and the effects of how it can positively change even your nervous system or your brain. And so tell us about the power of meditation.
Well, um, all of what was said, and then there is, and how does that work for you? I feel a little bit like Dr. Phil in this. In this so certainly, the practice, any practice worth of salt, is going to give you some guidance, and all of that was very, research based, scientific. All of that
Right.
is true. But meditation, there are many different meditation techniques or reasons to meditate. Right? So often it is, the so in when COVID happened, it just so happened that part of my divine curriculum was to be offered an opportunity to train in a particular meditation technique.
Mhm.
So all around the beginning of COVID, I was in a community of practice. The particular meditation technique happens to come from a Buddhist tradition. You don't have to be Buddhist to practice it. Uh, in its traditional language, it's called shamatha vipassana. And it is the practice of being awake and aware. And I say all of this to say one of the tenets of this particular meditation technique is to practice without intention, right? Which is not to say that's not the only reason to meditate. So again, there are many different meditation techniques and reasons to practice.
Mhm.
This particular one was about cultivating the ability to simply be present and awake and aware. So it's a technique that had us focus on the feeling of the breath as we inhale and exhale. Right? Um, and it's a technique that invited us to keep our eyes open. Now, for me, in the time of COVID and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and this is a good time for my community to figure out how to meditate with your eyes open, right? And
Mm.
certainly as we deal with our collective and individual trauma, to ask someone to close their eyes may not be a good idea. But it was about, instead of doing a fixed stare, what you do is, in the language of the industry, to lower your gaze. What does that mean? It means instead of staring hard straight ahead, you're going to look down maybe 3 or 6 feet in front of you. Instead of picking a point that you're going to stare at, what you're going to do is open your peripheral vision so that you are able to allow whatever is in your field of vision to be present,
Mm.
and then allow things to be as they are as you focus on the feeling of the breath as you inhale and exhale, right? And when those thoughts occur that come into your mind, we practice simply noticing that, oh, I just went off and I was thinking about something. I stopped focusing on my breath, come back. So it is also a practice of self-compassion in that there are many opportunities to begin again, because often I hear the complaint is, oh, I can't meditate. My mind is just so busy. Well,
Right.
our mind is busy being busy. Neither is
Right.
meditation an opportunity to turn your brain off. We don't want your brain to get turned off. It is one of the few organs in your body. If your brain goes, then, we start planning your home going, right?
Right.
Our mind is busy making thought. Most of what we're thinking doesn't really take our awareness away from where we want to put it. But meditation invites you to consider, what is my intention? Where am I intentionally putting my attention, so
Mhm.
that whether it is on scripture or on the flame of a candle or on a fill in the blank, because there are many ways to practice meditation,
Right.
can notice the moment when your awareness has wandered away, and then usher it back in the way that you might gently guide a child who's wandered off, without snatching it back and scolding it like we've never done that, right? Oh, I
Right.
can't meditate, I'm so terrible at. No, oh, my mind wandered. Okay, I can come
Right.
back
Bring it back.
again
Okay.
and again.
Mhm.
That becomes the practice, how to notice that you are kind of not where you intended to be, and find your way back to the.
Mhm.
So when I was in the hospital, true confession, that's all there was. There were moments from this breath to this breath to this breath, right?
Right.
So no matter where we are in our journey of wellness and well-being, as long as we are able to take a breath, we have
Yeah.
all we need to begin again. And then
Yeah.
create the room and awareness to then, when we release the meditation, then all the great ideas or insights or whatever it was, or the energy can take you to wherever it is that you need to be or want to go.
Yeah. So you just introduced something that I talked about a little bit before I introduced you. Is your health journey? So you were sharing with me before the show that you too.
Asthma.
She said, "My name is Kimberli Boyd, and I have asthma." So asthma
Mhm.
is a very serious disease. It is something that affects the Black and Brown community disproportionately, and you suffer with asthma, and you had it. Tell us a little bit about. Did you have an asthma attack, like, and how did your meditative practices help you through your recovery? Or, I mean, it's a lifelong disease.
Well, I've had seasonal allergies, and that's kind of what I attributed any occasional challenge to my, breathing to. Oh, okay, just take the Claritin, whatever, try not keep it pushing. But something about this season and COVID and stress and everything made it to where those typical things that I would do to right myself in the midst of my, upper respiratory challenge, I do the thing, I take the medicine for a while, it's better. 3 courses later, and it's not getting better, it's getting worse. So you said, did I have an asthma attack? Sis, evidently I was having a series of asthma attacks. When I tell you, to God be the glory, that I am still here, not having slept a night through for months. So we can do the whole talk about sleep hygiene. Hey, Dr. Karen, and the importance of all of that, right? I had not slept, let alone slept sitting, lying down. It was, sitting up for months, right? And
Wow.
so it got bad enough to where, and I was having the kind of week that only works in cyberspace, because you zoom and zoom and zoom and from one thing to the other. I had a heavy lift in terms of presentation.
Mhm.
And so it got to the point where, when you have to pray yourself through moment to moment, perhaps, and taking more medication more consistently than I ever have. Something's not right. Um,
Mhm.
I literally said, okay, Lord, if I'm to get through this next piece, please help me get through it. And then I promise, give me a plan of what to do. So I spoke to my partner. I said, listen, this thing is over at 4. By 4:15, we're in the car. He called the urgent care to see, because we hadn't been COVID tested lately, and certain places want to know your status.
Right.
And so he called ahead to find the place we were going to go. By the time we arrived, they looked at me and said, oh, no, we're calling ahead to the emergency room. We're going to tell them to inspect you. So we got there. And then when I got the emergency room, they said, oh, look at you. We'll never do, right? And so they're in my journey. So my meditation practice, I will say, helped me to at least be aware enough not to panic. And this is the first time where now I get it. For anybody who's ever had that experience of an asthma attack where you cannot breathe and your mind really starts to panic, right? Getting a hold of your breathing, of my breathing, helped me get to my next intervention. Okay, is it the inhaler? Is it the breathing treatment? Is it, but to have a sense of that in the midst, because you are fighting against yourself, right?
Right. Right.
Alarm bells are going off. So to have enough of an awareness of my breath in order to be able to switch the technique, and make a plan, okay, which is one of the things that I've always shared. So I feel like, yes, and everything that I've ever coached anyone who's come to me with this issue to do, um, I'm a witness. It works.
Yeah.
However, let us do a better job of listening to where we are so that it
Wow.
doesn't be that terrible.
Right. Wow. So listening is so important. So I asked if there were any questions, and we have one from Tyree. And she says, I don't have asthma, but I had a serious attack, perhaps a panic attack or a stress attack, to lying in bed alone thinking I was dying. What should we have? What should we have on hand or available in case one comes on? So in case a panic attack or any type of mindful attack or pressure attack, what should you do in that moment?
I would offer this, especially because you mentioned that you were lying down in bed when this happened. So sit up, get your feet on the floor, or get to some solid surface, right? And really just sit up tall once again. Why? Because if we can sit up tall, we can allow our lungs to have the space that they need in order for them to expand, right? So a deeper breath, often what happens is, I'm not sure you would see it anyway if I adjusted my camera. Often, and I see this a lot, as soon as you advise someone to take a breath, what they do is, right, the shoulders go up, and because I've sucked in, right, instead of doing the opposite, which is to allow the belly to relax. So sitting up straight, soles of your feet against the floor, your hips really feeling connected to the seat, one hand on your belly. And what you're going to do is a deep belly breath or balloon breath, which is to inhale and allow the front of your body to be so soft and relaxed that instead of constricting on the inhale, I can tell you constricting on the inhale if your shoulders go up because you're trying to make room. So relax that. And it is, if I use my hands as an example, as you inhale, the belly kind of expands. Now you're not putting air in your belly. You're not. What's happening is the diaphragm is lowering and you want to control the breath. So bit by bit, not force the breath. So I would advise to breathe to the point of where it feels comfortable. Allow the natural pause and then release that breath, let it go. Pause, inhale. Because that's the other thing too. We think that breath happens like this. There is actually a natural space between the inhale and the exhale. When the inhale turns to an exhale and the exhale turns to an inhale, don't rush past that moment.
Mm.
So that's physically what you can do. And then if you have an affirmation or a prayer life, so feeling like you are dying, right? The feeling. So what we know is that we are the sky. Feelings are like the clouds. They come and go. So the feeling as though you are dying, especially if there's no real reason you're not in imminent danger, is to affirm, I am here. I am alive. Oh,
Yes.
no. Whatever your affirmation is in the moment. So again, so wonderful to have a prayer life or meditation life before the moment, because in that moment when you feel like you are dying, it's real hard to get a hold of, all of the magnificence that we are,
Yes.
because not be able to breathe for whatever reason and manifest is a very challenging thing. So that is what I would offer in general. Of course, an asterisk by everything. Chew up the meat, spit out the bones, chew up the fruit, spit out the seeds, take what works for you, and working together with your healthcare provider or wellness support person to figure out what's exactly going to work for you.
Why it came on. Thank you, Tyree. I hope that answered your question. Let's see. We have another question here from Shiree. Is the proper way to inhale push stomach out or draw it in?
Okay. Depends on what you're trying to, what you're making. Pantsuit or a wedding gown, right? So to push or to draw in. Okay. So I would say once again to just allow yourself to relax, right? So any good breath is a good breath. The question is, do you need more breath, long breath, or short breath, right? Because as I said before, a shorter breath is going to create some fire, some urgency, is going to wake you up, right? A longer breath, a relaxed breath is going to invite stability and calm, and then maybe ease you into rest or sleep in case insomnia is the issue. So to have access to your instrument, then that you can have some choices and options. So instead of pushing the stomach out, which is a muscular thing, what you want to do is, again, inhale gently through the nose and allow the pathway of the breath simply to go down and to allow the region of the belly to expand. And then as you exhale, release it, let it go. Now, we could do this, right? So everybody just taking a breath. And then now, go ahead and squeeze your belly button to your spine. Blow it out, blow it out, blow it out. Keep blowing until you don't have anything more. And when you can't, when there's no more, feel that.
Yeah.
And try it again, right? So if you're inclined to pull the belly in, do it now. Just pull that belly in, squeeze all the breath out. And when you can't stand it anymore, see what it's like to allow everything to relax and expand, which is why when you faint, that's what it's like. Because your body takes over and says, girl, she can't even, okay, take it out so we can get a breath, right? Yeah, so that's a little trick. And so again, practice. And it seems kind of ridiculous to practice breathing, but anything worth doing is worth bringing some awareness to. Don't be dismayed if it takes a time or two. Just release it, let it go, and try again.
Awesome. Shy, let us know if that answered your question. Because and I'm glad she asked that question because when I'm taking cleansing breaths in the morning, as I am directing them to inhale, I think, of course, we're trying to be very calm and, really allow our bodies to be in a nice, natural, neutral, calming position. I oftentimes will say your belly expands. And so you might feel your belly expand if you're shoulders down, inhaling. And so I think I'm glad that you talked about that. Depending on what you're doing, it can expand, or when you're blowing out, you can have it extract, or you can have your belly button going into your spine, just depending on what you want.
Empty the breath. Because actually, breath starts with the emptying, the exhale. So for those of us who are a little bit on the alpha side and want to know how to do it, that's just something. It's like sometimes you just got to go with the flow. Okay, see what happens if you just squeeze that belly in. Just leave it there, leave it there, leave it there.
Yeah. I have also noticed that since I've been doing meditation and more breathing, when I work out, I am able to breathe much better than before I worked out. Sometimes when I was working out with Valerie Tyler, I would literally feel myself holding my breath. And I'm like, I'm holding my breath and I'm trying to work out. This is probably not a good idea, right? But it would just be moments of because I'm watching her, right? So I might be doing some bicep curls and it was unintentional.
Right.
But since I've been actually doing breathing exercises, even subconsciously, I just feel myself breathing a lot more throughout my day. I'm breathing a lot more. So, to your point and what you said, and thank you, Kimberly, for sharing that, any practice is a good practice. And the more that we do it, and the more that we really learn how to do it, and what's comfortable for us, because you said like an asterisk. So, it really kind of depends on your body and what you need. But breathing is so important. And I think it will help us get through all of this stress and pressure and anxiety. No one, really is exempt from it. And so I think you can be the best, meditator. You can do it every single day, but we just don't know. Just like you said, you had to listen to yourself. You thought you had time to go to urgent care, and urgent care took one look at you and said, no, emergency room. And the emergency room looked at you and said, you're staying. And so
Club Med, Club Med, welcome. Yeah.
right. And so that is so important that we listen to ourselves. But I think oftentimes we need to slow down, and God has slowed us down in the midst of this pandemic. But what are we doing during this time of slowing down and shutting down? Are we really being mindful about making our lives better? Or we succumb to, oh, we're living in a pandemic. Oh, I'm out of work, or, I lost a friend or a loved one. And I'm not trying to rush past that. I'm just trying to say that we really need to have some practices. And I listened to a wonderful, thank you to one of my girlfriends who shared it. I think Nadia Quarles shared it. I listened to a wonderful Instagram. I think it was a sermon. I don't even know the preacher's name, but he was talking about why aren't we winning? And he said, we're not winning because we're trying. I'm trying to be a Christian. I'm trying to love my kids. I'm trying. He said, but there's a difference between trying and training. And so I was trying to start my mornings off right and be intentional about being happy and carrying that throughout my day. And as soon as I get on the wrong Zoom call, that trying kicked in. Well, I tried and it's not working anymore. But if I'm training myself, and I don't think, because that's like trying, I know that this meditation practice in the morning in this month already has allowed me to train better in my thought process, in my breathing process, in my spiritual practice and training of living a better life.
Well, you reminded me of the importance of consistency. So in building a meditation practice, instead of, kind of doing it whenever, the suggestion is that and don't start trying to meditate for an hour or even 20 minutes. And 10 minutes. Look, remember the 1 minute meditation, 60 seconds. And if 60 seconds didn't seem like long enough, go to 3 minutes. We all got a timer, and then maybe 5. right? Just practice. Like anything, training, bring yourself up gradually, but to do it at a consistent time, and hopefully, not just once a month or once a week, but anything we do with consistency over time, we will progress and grow and do
We
it.
have thank you. We have another question. I have started a new lifestyle of eating, and it's considerably a vegan lifestyle. Is there breathing exercises to relieve tension headaches from change of eating habits? Really good question, Katrina. Yeah. Sometimes when we take things out of our system, coffee, chocolate, stimulants that our bodies used to be used to, it does cause us to have reactions to it. Anything that she can do to help her?
So once again, so a headache, a tension headache. So I'm listening to the description. So tension headache, anything above shoulders, head, mind. Tension is constriction. What we want to do is invite a release, an opening, a dilation. And so if there were a general breath technique, it would be one that practices um, expansion, right? And relaxation. So that's my general answer, specifically, once again, guiding you toward what's going to work for you. And counterintuitively, I wouldn't necessarily have you concentrate on the location of the discomfort, right? So taking your meditation seat, what is that? Sitting up tall. Why? Because your lungs are in your rib cage, so now we have some room for them to move. Think of inhaling and exhaling. And if you can, follow the pathway of your breath down to the soles of your feet, right? And just for a moment, let your awareness rest there. And then perhaps consider that as you inhale, allow the soles of your feet to soften, and there might be an opening as if you were breathing through the very soles of your feet to invite a sense of expansion. And then as you exhale, gently releasing that breath down through the soles of your feet into the earth to be transformed, and then back up again. We're trying to create space. So a guided meditation, and there are many, might offer images that help us to have, instead of focusing on the physicality of what's going on, help to switch our awareness and our attention. So I went kind of to the opposite in the body, right? Tension in the head. So rather than focusing on the tension in your head, let's see if we can create an opening someplace else in the body, right? Or notice, where are the places in your body where there is a sense of openness and ease, right? So for instance, sitting here in your meditation seat, for a moment, just bring your awareness to the backs of your arms. And notice if it feels tight or if it feels loose or if it feels neutral. And just breathe there. And so in the presence of someone that I'm actually coaching and there's feedback, we can see what's happening, okay? And maybe take a mindful trip, breathing through, scanning the rest of the body, and then ultimately checking back in with the tension headache and see if it has been able to shift. If we're able to shift it by shifting focus, awareness, and breath, then it was kind of a constriction of the mind. If it's still there, but you're able to tolerate it, any good shift in a positive direction is a good shift. But because you are cleansing your body and you may be having a healing response, I'd say what you also want to do as well is up your water intake, right? So that you're flushing out the lactic acid and the other things in your body that are just creeping up to, you're detoxifying. And, there's a detoxification response. And mostly, and most importantly, practice compassion with yourself. Stay on your path. And be well.
Very good. Thank you. She said, wow, thank you. So I think that helped. All right, Katrina, thank you. Okay. She said, yes, I do need more water as well. All right, great, wonderful. Well, I hope we have answered all of thank you so much, everyone who joined us. Truly appreciate you being with us, Devlon and Nancy and Tyree and Shiree and Katrina and anyone else that I may have missed. Thank you so much for coming on today. We hope this information has been helpful. Again, morning mindfulness is so important, Kimberly. I just want to continue to, express and oh, before I forget, if they want to join you, follow you, contact you for more information, they can do so. I want to make sure to put your information up here. You can contact Kimberly at boyd.kimberly@gmail.com. She's also on Facebook, is that Spiritual Yoga and Wellness.
Oh, actually, it's spirit-filled. Spirit-filled.
I got it wrong. Sorry, guys. I will put it in the banner. And then Instagram and Twitter, you're at Kimberli Boyd Inc. Right?
Right.
Okay, awesome. So we'll make sure that you have her contact information. You can always email her, boyd.kimberly@gmail.com, because she has wonderful information and classes. And so you were amazing at the I Am That Woman retreat. You are still amazing. I pray a speedy recovery in your healing as you continue to heal with your asthma. And your name is Kimberli Boyd, and you are healed and you are blessed. And that asthma is going to go all the way away, because we know that we serve a mighty God who's able to do all things exceedingly and abundantly. And so more than what we can ask. So we thank God that he definitely has doctors to created the inhalers to help us to take every important breath that we have, but we also receive the spirit.
We receive this right now, from the crown of our heads to the center of our hearts to the soles of our feet. May we all walk in beauty, truth, wellness, and peace.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I'll be right back. I just have to make some announcements. Thank you, Kimberly, so much. I love seeing you. So glad that you are well, but stay with me as I take you backstage. All right, well, wrapping up the show today. I truly hope you guys enjoyed this information. Again, I will continue to promote and talk about morning mindfulness. I think it is so important. I think it's imperative that we have intention on how we start our day. And 5:30 a.m. Central Time. I know it's early, but it is a life-changing practice that will only help you to train, not just try, but to train to live your best life. And then you can join us for prayer at 6 a.m. And it's only 30 minutes. You have the rest of 23 hours in the day to sleep and to work and to do all the other things that you have to do. But starting your day at least in prayer and meditation will change your life. And then work out. I keep promoting Valerie Tyler because I'm telling you, 40 minutes throughout Monday through Thursday. If you just work out with her, I see the tone and definition in my body. I'm stronger. My mind is stronger. Everything is so much better. And I just encourage you to do that. You can look on any of our social media to find out this information. It's a conference call. You don't even have to get up, get ready, do anything. Literally just wake up, call into the conference call number, call in for meditation at 5:30. You'll be on there for prayer at 6 o'clock. And then Tyree, you can always join her for prayer at 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time on Facebook Live every day, Monday through Friday. She is teaching and sharing prayer as well. So I always say Grace for Purpose is a wonderful resource on YouTube. I listen and try to post those every morning, but prayer is just essential to our life. Prayer should be like water. It should be just as important, if not, and it's more important than water and food, because what does the word say? It's not just the bread of life. It's not just the bread that we eat, but it's that eternal life, and it's the eternal bread that we need. I hope you have enjoyed today's show. Next month, in February, of course, it's the month of love with Valentine's Day. It's a very special month for me and two of my sisters because it's our birthdays, and I'm celebrating the big 50. Happy birthday, Devlon Carter. She's also an Aquarian, so happy birthday to you. I know it's coming up. Happy birthday, Kelly Russell. Rachel, you just my best friend from high school. She just celebrated her 50th this week. Happy birthday, Jeff Jenkins and Mark Jenkins. I'm number 10 of 11. So we have 4 boys in January. My mother was busy bringing babies home and 4 kids in February. And so happy birthday to all my Aquarian brothers and sisters. Certainly want to give you that shout out. Yes, Devlon, it's our birthday month. So thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate you being with us. Love you much and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.